But by us protecting against CRT and this Stop Woke Act, we're going to be making sure that time in school is actually spent learning and not just being targets of indoctrination. And that is going to be a very good thing for parents throughout the state of Florida.
I'm Dave Aronberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County, aka the Florida Lawman, here on the MeidasTouch Network. And in a big loss for Governor Ron DeSantis, his crowning legislative achievement, the Stop Woke Act, is now dead. It was first put aside by a federal judge, and then it went up to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, a conservative circuit that also said now violates the First Amendment. And mind you, before you think, well, they must have had a panel of Democratic appointed judges. No, 2 of the 3 judges on the panel, including the one who wrote the opinion, were appointed by Donald Trump. And then the case went back to the federal judge, who then put a final kibosh on it. It is over. The Stop Woke Act, which Ron DeSantis said stood up to what he called indoctrination, the act that he frequently cited in his unsuccessful run for president, is now dead. And we need to go over what happened, because with a lot of the media attention focused on the presidential race, this was something building in the MAGA world. This was something that Ron DeSantis pointed to as the paradigm for every other state, as the model for what other states should do. And now the courts, conservative judges, have said, no, the First Amendment does not allow you to do your own indoctrination. According to the Stop Woke Act, there are prohibited teachings, whether in the classroom or in the workplace. And there's a series of 8 of them. I'm not going to go over all 8, but let me just give you a couple of them. Number 6, a person by virtue of his or her own race, color, national origin, or sex should be discriminated against or received adverse treatment to achieve diversity, equity, or inclusion. These are all prohibited things. Number 8, such virtues as merit, excellence, hard work, fairness, neutrality, objectivity, and racial colorblindness are racist or sexist or were created by members of a particular race, color, national origin, or sex to oppress members of another race, color, national origin, or sex. Professors who violated the law or employers could face disciplinary action, including termination of their jobs, and state schools that violated the statute could lose performance funding, which constitute a significant portion of their budgets. The law was challenged both by students and professors. You can see how vague this act is. I mean, this would lead to professors and students walking on eggshells, because you can possibly violate the law based on someone's interpretation of what you said inside a classroom. And then there's the whole workplace environment, which is another matter. But you know that you're in trouble if you're the state of Florida when the federal judge in this case begins his order by quoting George Orwell's 1984. Federal Judge Mark Walker from the Northern District of Florida starts his order granting, in part, the motion for a preliminary injunction by saying, quote, "It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13, and the powers in charge of Florida's public university system have declared the state has unfettered authority to muzzle its professors in the name of freedom. To confront certain viewpoints that offend the powers that be, the state of Florida passed the so-called Stop Woke Act in 2022, redubbed, in line with the state's doublespeak, the Individual Freedom Act. The law officially bans professors from expressing disfavored viewpoints in university classrooms while permitting unfettered expression of the opposite viewpoints. Defendants argue that under this act, professors enjoy academic freedom so long as they express only those viewpoints of which the state approves. Yeah, freedom of speech, but watch what you say. This is positively dystopian. It should go without saying that if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. So that was the judge. And then it went up to the conservative 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. which echoed the same thing. Written by a Trump appointee, the opinion by the 11th Circuit said, the state of Florida seeks to bar employers from holding mandatory meetings for their employees if those meetings endorse viewpoints the state finds offensive. But meetings on those same topics are allowed if speakers endorse viewpoints the state agrees with, or at least does not object to. This law, as Florida concedes, draws its distinctions based on viewpoint, the most pernicious of dividing lines under the First Amendment. But the state insists that ordinary First Amendment review does not apply because the law restricts conduct, not speech. We cannot agree, and we reject this latest attempt to control speech by recharacterizing it as conduct. Florida may be exactly right about the nature of the ideas it targets, or it may not. Either way, the merits of these views will be decided in the clanging marketplace of ideas rather than a code book or a courtroom. And now Judge Walker, who received the case back from the 11th Circuit, has put the final death knell in this law. The judge said it is now permanent, the injunction. It is gone, this law. And one of the plaintiffs, the Project Democracy plaintiffs who pursued this litigation, took a victory lap by saying in a CNN article, this is a powerful reminder that the First Amendment cannot be warped to serve the interests of elected officials. Shalini Goel Agarwal, counsel for Project Democracy, said in a post on X on Friday that was cited in CNN, censoring business owners from speaking in favor of ideas that politicians don't like is a movie ripped straight from the authoritarian playbook. And it is ironic that this is all going on against the background of Florida being labeled the free state of Florida. In fact, Governor DeSantis put up signs in Florida when you are welcomed into Florida, saying, welcome to the free state of Florida. Those are the new taxpayer-funded signs in our state. But as the 11th Circuit said, it is kind of ironic when you claim you support freedom and yet you have these codes which prohibit what you can say. This in addition to other laws in the free state of Florida, like the 6-week abortion ban, which Governor DeSantis championed. And then there are other laws about what you can say if you're a company, for example, the punishment of Disney for speaking out against the so-called Don't Say Gay bill, another bill that restricted speech. And so the record of court losses for the DeSantis administration continues, and we'll see in particular what the voters say in November about the 6-week abortion ban. That, too, is on the ballot. And I suspect the voters are going to overwhelmingly pass a referendum that says that Roe versus Wade is now the law in Florida, meaning the original Roe versus Wade standard that protects women's reproductive rights up to the point of viability is back in law. When you say we're going to leave it up to the states, well, now Florida has the ability to undo everything that Governor DeSantis did when it comes to abortion, to undo essentially what the Supreme Court did in the Dobbs decision by reinstating the Roe versus Wade standard. And I think it's going to happen. So Mighty, 2024 continues to be the year of accountability, and it's the year that voters strike back. So that is the latest from Florida. I'm Dave Aronberg, a.k.a. the Florida Lawman, here on the MeidasTouch Network. If you like this video, please like and leave a comment below. And if you like true crime, as I do, please check out our sister channel, True Crime MTN, where we go over the cases that don't make it onto the main MeidasTouch network, but stuff that you may be interested in, like the Al Baldwin case or the Brian Koberger case out in Idaho. Right now, we're following the Ashley Benefield Black Swan case in Florida, because everything seems to happen in Florida. But check us out over there at True Crime MTN, and I'll see you next time.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Midas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.